So we are back, and let's get into the interview part here. We'll keep it a little bit open, but I do have some specifics that I'll be asking you, Cece.
Okay.
So let's start about how do you think sex work has been affected by COVID-19 for those that are involved in that?
So I'm going to address the positives. The positive is that OnlyFans has been more normalized. I've even seen it in my personal experience where, 3 years ago when I was starting this journey, I had everyone and their mother hating on me for my life choices, which is fine. But then COVID hit and now they're like, oh,
Everyone and their mother are doing it.
everyone and their mother want to do it. And I have people messaging me like, hey, can you put me on? And I'm like, okay, well, it's nice that you now respect this and want to do it yourself.
Because they see the financial stream. And at the end of the day, you do it not just only because of money, because it's something you're competent and capable to do.
Yeah.
And all the other factors that go into, having almost like an adult site for yourself.
Yeah. And so when I started, my content sucked. Like
Stop.
the camera quality trash, the editing probably also trash. And it took a long time for me to kind of master the marketing and all of that stuff. And people sometimes think of OnlyFans as like, oh, all you have to do is get naked and take a selfie. Well, if that selfie is grainy and terrible, why are you going to charge someone $5 to view it? So there's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that goes into OnlyFans.
The skill you learn too as an editor, and you become like a production manager.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Yeah.
And so I've had to wear like very many hats for myself, kind of running my own business. Now the unfortunate thing is we have all these people that want to hop on OnlyFans because it's a pandemic and they're trying to make some extra cash. But what's going to happen when the pandemic's over? You want to go back to your, civilian job as, I don't know, an accountant or something.
If the pandemic resumes.
Yeah.
Like if it clears up and everything.
Yeah. And you want to go back to your accountant job. And they go, oh, well, you spent the last 8 months posting nude online. We're not going to hire you back. And so I think that it's really important, don't fall into this hype of like, oh, OnlyFans, you make big money and it's, super easy and blah, blah, blah. Make sure that you're also thinking about how is this going to affect me and my future goals? Because I think sometimes people forget that as it becomes more normalized, they see celebrities like, making it normalized and they go, oh, well, they did it and their career's fine.
Yeah.
It's not the same for you. You're not Cardi B. You're not Bella Thorne. You are
who you are.
Yeah.
And I think it's just like with any industry too. I think that a lot of people are monkey see, monkey do. They're getting motivated because, again, finances are tight and tough right now with everything that's going on. And it's a go-to. I personally don't have an OnlyFans, but I have had an adult site in the past, and I have done things that, required a lot of work and a lot of real media quality that had to go into it to create the spaces in regards to, getting a website, hosting, having, a web designer, all those things were put into it. Whereas now I haven't really looked into the scope of OnlyFans and, how you can even put content on there. Can you upload old content or have stuff that you've done before, or does it have to be something always new and, refresh?
It should be something that's new and fresh. And I want you to hear me say that it should be. Have I uploaded throwbacks? Absolutely. Because they were like photos that I really enjoyed that I hadn't posted before. And I'm like, hey, look at me. I was 19. I was super hot.
Still hot.
But I think that if you're posting, the same photo every couple of months and you're kind of hoping that people don't notice, they're going to notice.
But videos, though, can you put videos there?
Yeah, you can post videos there. I've kind of made one of my sites, which is my AVN site, which is very similar to OnlyFans. One of it has more exclusive and fetish content. And then my OnlyFans is a little bit more for the vanillas so that they don't get freaked out when I'm like super tied up and getting electrocuted.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You do electroplay?
Oh, yeah. I'm into...
Confessions on Zae Link.
Yeah. I'm into some stuff. I like my music like I like my men. Aggressive.
Ooh. Snap to that. We read a poem and now we're getting all the lyrics. Okay. Yeah, no, again, once you talk to somebody who knows their shit sexually, like you get to hear the fetishes, you get to hear the experiences. It just makes it more real. Like your mind will be blown. And I think that's where people need to follow you and ask you directly what floats your boat. And maybe you can enact what floats theirs.
Yeah. I love answering questions for people about, how do I explore this and this? I'm into this. How do I figure out if I like it or not?
Electroplay is an interesting one. I think it's like shock treatment. So if anybody has like an injury and you go to a specialist, sometimes for nerve sensitivity, you get shock treatment and, for different things in your body for medical reasons. But it's also used in the world of sex as well for different stimulation, because how you stimulate the body is a very interesting experience. It's cosmic, if I can say. The beat reminds me of the word cosmic for some reason, but it's a cosmic experience and explosion, because how you touch somebody, again, is intimate and intense. Where you touch them is important. And again, the level of touch can be a simple glide, it can be a pinch, it could be different things, but the shock treatment's it's a wake-up call, especially when you exactly.
Yeah.
When you zap different parts of the body, whether it be a nipple, whether it be a clit, whether it be, your palm, or even like your wrist, different parts of the body, and having it done. Like when you talk about electroplay, actually, let's talk about it for a sec. Who electrocutes you, or like who shocks you?
So in the past, it's actually been friends that were more experienced in kink than I was. So it wasn't like a play situation. We weren't like doing anything. It was like, hey, you want to try this? And I was like, absolutely. I have had friends use violet wands on me, which is like a little bit lighter. It's just like a little.
You said friends. You let friends do like intimate acts with you?
I wouldn't more consider it intimate. It's just kind of like, hey, I have this cool thing and it hurts a lot. And I'm like, I like getting hurt a lot. Hurt me.
Okay, but she said it, guys. She just loves that bondage, and
it's very casual.
It's so used to it. We're talking about consensual pain, and that's another thing in the fetish world of sex, that you have to be open-minded to different elements of pleasure.
Yeah.
Some people like very aggressive stuff, and some people like very mild forms, and some people can be down with either one. Yeah. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying, because I did have an experience in the dungeon there. From one of the last episodes we talked about, I had a dungeon experience, and it was about domination, and I was being dominated, and it was really interesting. I did have the shock treatment as well, and I was restrained. I was tied to... what was it? I had my hands up tied, and then I had my legs bound as well. And it was really, really interesting. I was being shocked in different places, so it was pretty funny. But yeah. The
violet wand is super soft. I've also had experience. I have a friend who actually has like a cow prodder.
Oh, shoot.
Which is super heavy duty because it's, for a very large animal.
So it's a real one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he had brought it to, I think, the club actually. Mm-hmm. And he was like, look what I have. And I was like, can I try it? And he was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. And it hurt like hell. I jumped and I was like, let's do it again.
But that's the thing. Pain is pleasure, right? And
yeah.
Especially when it's in a controlled environment. So it's just like spanking too. Like I have so many experiences, but this isn't always about me. So we'll pass on that one. But yeah, in regards to pleasure and stuff like that, there's shock treatment. There's more extreme things that you can be doing.
But do them safely.
Yeah.
Do them safely.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, downtown is just deciding to be the loudest it can be today while you guys are having a great conversation.
Yeah, it's just that engine. It's just like our bodies, like we're so fueled.
We call it on the network Toronto ambiance, but usually the sirens and stuff.
Oh, that was your natural sound effect. What are you telling them? You're revving us up.
Yeah, that's all me. That's all me.
The natural revving of Toronto.
Hey.
Oh, wow. Yes. So let's go on to our next question, which is, what was the craziest sexual request you've received, and have you done it? I'm sure there's plenty, but just think about it. I mean, who's not going to want to have the most extreme things done to you?
I'm actually going to talk about a custom video experience that I had. So I had someone pay me a copious amount of money to pretend.
All background sound effects. I love it.
It's so great. It's so great.
You got audio too of a person talking. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. So someone had requested that I pretend to be a turned off sexy robot. And so I filmed an hour-long video where I was not allowed to be filmed blinking. So every time the camera was around my face and I had someone smacking me in the face, I couldn't blink react to being hit in the face, which took several takes. Basically, this person just wanted to see like my joints bend and straighten. It wasn't even inherently sexual.
For them, it was, I think.
For them, it was. Yeah. But for me, I was like...
Following the instructions.
Yeah. I've also had another custom video request where the script was that I was playing with myself and I magically grabbed a pair of scissors and very casually and accidentally cut my hair like on my head.
Oh, okay.
While I was...
It's a slight humiliation thing.
Yeah, like, oops, I was, playing and I accidentally cut my hair. Yeah. And so I had to figure out how to work that one into a script. It was pretty funny to film. I enjoyed it and I got a new haircut out of it. So all worked out.
Way to make the most out of that. Yeah. There's some really interesting requests made of me, and I've done many things, but I think I've had to say no to one in particular. When you start getting into values and morals and uncomfortable situations, like enacting to, let's just say, I don't know, be a I think that's a little bit a certain age as well. Yeah. I've been asked to enact that, and I had to decline, unfortunately, because just some things, again, in this world and in this element of being sexually gifted, we are allowed to say yes and no. So I just said no.
I also, I know that it's a very popular topic, but I won't do like step relation.
Incestual, like a lot of people sometimes want incestual fantasies.
Yeah, and that's too much for me personally. However, if that's your thing and everyone's consenting, go for it.
It's real categories out there. I mean, and this is the thing again about what glorifies is anything goes. You can have somebody who's barely legal as a category. You can have brother, sister, mother, son, like in steps, like there's really no limit. It's just a matter of the perspective and who is using their value system to, I guess, enhance the sexual experience and who's able to decline it or not partake in it.
Yeah.
So there are categories and there are people who are into these things regardless. It's just we all have filters, and some people have different levels of when they get to a filter. Some of us reach them faster, some of us don't. So it's a very real thing. We are able to say yes and no, and some of us have done some really, interesting things. Some of us will pass.
Yeah.
So next question is, with limitations on Instagram, with everything that's going on with Facebook and with censorship and all these new things that are coming in to prevent sex work or anything on the sexual explicit content line that affects us in particular, how do you find promoting and marketing yourself on like online? Like, are you feeling that you're more cornered into a tight space to use the platforms that now you have to focus on, or are you still trying to like spread a lot of your I guess, your influence over the place in subtle ways?
So I used to really, my majority focus was on Instagram. And now I've kind of turned my Instagram into wholesome selfies and pictures of my dog. because I can't get away with posting anything else.
What you
And-
want to really post, because you're proud of your body, and I mean, you look good, and you want to share different sides of you and different parts. And you know, there's policing going around all the time, and they're limiting that. So I think you can still post, but just use some of these emojis.
I made a second account for all of my like work stuff. And then the account that was my main account, I made Safe for Work. So that in the case that my work account gets deleted, I at least still have my original. I've kind of moved majority to Snapchat and Twitter because they are more friendly.
With your content.
Yeah.
And fan base again. And again, it's a time for fans to be really loyal because, again, there's a lot of difficulty with being able to freely promote, share, and do what, you know, people like us love to do, which is, you know, like be open-minded to sexuality and express ourselves. So the key is to make sure that when you're a fan and you support who you like, stay connected. The platforms are out there. And again, if you are a content creator, make sure you have multiple platforms available so that your fans can access you by email should anything shut down officially, because that is a payment stream, I'm sure, that a lot of us use is email transfers and all these other things tied to email. So that's a huge one.
And when you're using PayPal to send, you know, to your favorite content creators, please don't put not safe for work language in your like notes when you send an e-transfer or PayPal. It's been known that PayPal will freeze the accounts of anyone receiving money that they suspect is for, you know, like content or any sort of adult service.
Solicitation or something like that.
Yeah.
So be mindful. So it's not just the issue on the content creator's part to produce content and receive support financially or however monetary way that is provided, but also being smart as a contributor, knowing the rules and knowing the language, because we have to do so much work sometimes to be content creators and produce what you love to see and watch and hear. Yeah. So it makes it like 10 times more easier when you understand if you want to support, have that conversation, find out the best way first and the instructions that would be most ideal for you to follow in order to ensure that it is received and that it is definitely appreciated, and you know the person can continue to do what they need to do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that's a huge point, like, and that makes a lot of sense for that dialogue. Because again, some people might be comfortable with a certain payment method, and then there's other ones that are accepted that can be easier and actually have less, what's the word I'm looking for? Fees or anything else associated with it.
Yeah. And sometimes too, OnlyFans has like payout limits. So if you're, you know, thinking about PayPaling one of your favorite creators and they go, actually, I'm $5 away from my payout limit on OnlyFans. Can you send it there so I can receive the rest of my money?
Payout. So she's somebody you want to keep supporting because you have different limits out here. Yeah. So I'm happy.
Slide into her DMs respectfully.
Yeah.
Thank
Cecilia Morrell. So a few other things that we can probably discuss quickly is since we're talking about dating and relationships and stuff, just a generic question out there. Should guys articulate their feelings and emotions, or should we just allow them to think that it's assumed in their body language and in their behavior?
I love a man that can communicate. Like, tell me what you are thinking, what you are feeling.
It's rare, though.
It's so rare. But if you tell me, like, exactly what it is, like, 100% honesty and accuracy, that allows me to figure out how I'm going to move. So, you know, if you're, like, kind of just giving me some body language that I can't read, I'm not going to be able to be the best partner for you.
Right. And especially because I think being hypersexual or being sexually open, you're already like opening up a whole nother vulnerability that most people are more reserved with. So I think it enhances our ability to be a little bit more tolerant of anybody else expressing themselves, even just verbally.
Yeah.
Because sexual expression is loud and it is very defining, because it's almost like we're being so vulnerable with our most intimate part of us, which is our sexuality, because that's not something we wear on our sleeve. People don't just look at you and see exactly what you're about, right? Sometimes they can guess, but when you're open to somebody sexually and then you are very competent and strong in that area, I think that, yeah, as a man or as somebody else that's more emotionally reserved, there should be a room for you to feel a little bit more open-minded and express yourself in the best way you can, as long as you're able to articulate with words. Yes.
Yeah. And those conversations can be really sexy. They don't have to be.
No, but why do people think that if a man is emotional or talking, like not crying or whatever, but like if he's talking about things he may not like, or if he's talking about things that maybe bother him or things he'd maybe want to try, like, I don't think that's anything to laugh at. I think it just makes it more engaging and makes me feel like you're more real, like you're just as open as I am.
Communication initiates the gorilla grip.
Oh shoot.
Men communicate.
Gorilla
communicate.
Grip. Oh my gosh, I gotta use that.
I had to do a throwback to earlier in the episode.
Gorilla grip.
Content creator.
I like that. So, anything else you want to let viewers and listeners know about Cecilia Morrell and what's next and what's happening? Because we're in uncertain times right now, and I just want to know, like, what do you want to leave everybody with now that they have experienced you on this platform?
I think, with it being uncertain times, we have to try our best to kind of explore our sexuality and be true to ourselves and continue to live our lives to the fullest in a way that's safe. Figure out what is going to work for you and what's going to make you happy, what's going to feed your soul when it comes to intimacy in these times. I guess that's kind of like my message to leave you with.
Her poem, Unofficial.
Yeah. I'm no freestyler, so.
No, for sure. And definitely I want viewers to still feel comfortable and competent to send your messages. If it's an audio, I accept. If it's a text, I accept. Send it to zaelinks@gmail.com, ZAE links, LINKS @gmail.com, or me personally, Allizae Vlogs, your host and beloved.
Also, the Instagram, we have our Instagram page, Zae Link, also on Instagram.
Zae Link on Instagram, and also We Love Hip Hop Network. That is the umbrella here, and a huge platform. Congratulations on episode 200 on
Thank you.
on the podcast, and getting a lot of shout outs, and definitely spaces like this is what the community needs in regards to hip hop, in regards to sexuality, in regards to anything. The people need to be able to feel like people out there understand them, and that they can relate to them, and they could talk about the issues that a lot of us are facing. And I think me introducing this poem earlier can show you just how real I am. I have my own situations too. Cecilia has her own, and Friday and everybody else. We're in uncertain times and uncertain situationships and situations that are happening all the time. So thanks for listening, and definitely subscribe on YouTube to Allizae Vlogs.
Yeah.
And We Love Hip Hop Network. Cecilia Morrell on Instagram.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through and having yet again another interview with
I got big drip.
Allizae.
I got big whip. I got big crib.